All right, let's take you back now to the Black Friday shopping spree, and we are told a shopper has already spent around 600,000 rand. Let me repeat that. A shopper has spent around 600,000 rand. This is on the eve of Black Friday. Financial institutions are cautioning consumers to think twice about spending. Let's catch up now with Newzroom Afrika's Ntokozo Khumalo, who joins us. Ntokozo, good morning to you once again. So you'll tell us where you are this time around. But the important question is this 600,000. What was it spent on? Because I assume we will not be told who the shopper is. But do we know at least what they bought?
Well, it was a mix of electronics. That's what we got out of that, but not too much detail on what was actually spent. I'm wishing I was that shopper who could afford to spend 600,000 rand on the eve of Black Friday. And where I am right now, we've moved up from Cresta Mall. We are now at Clearwater Mall, that is still in the West Rand of Johannesburg. And just speaking about that spending, this morning we've heard from ShopRite, we've heard from Game around the kind of products that consumers such as that big spender shopper are spending on this year. Still a lot of essential goods that consumers are spending on preparing for the next year, but also those electronics that would otherwise be rather expensive. But it is important, Goli, to remember that we are in tough economic times, and it is important to watch our pocket when we are spending and not to spend recklessly. And I am now joined by Tumelo Ramokondo, who is the head of credits at Standard Bank. Thank you so much for talking to us. Now, Goli is telling us about the customer that's already spent 600,000 rand on the eve of Black Friday. Talk us through the sort of trends that Standard Bank has seen when it comes to this time of the year and the kind of spending that consumers are doing.
Yeah. So thanks for the time and good morning, I think, to everyone. So the truth is, I think we think customers are cash strapped. The economy is tough, so the pocket is a bit tight. What we are seeing is really customers actually spending mostly on essentials. Customers basically spending on groceries, department stores. They're spending sort of retail clothing, footwear. I mean, the interesting one that we've seen sort of a bit prominent this morning is that we can see that actually customers are booking their holidays. So there's quite a bit of an uptick in terms of flights and accommodation, and also some very high numbers, I guess, in there. But those are sort of the trends that we're seeing so far. But just given where I think the economy is, we still think this Black Friday is mostly about essentials as opposed to luxury goods.
And just talk us through that, booking holidays. I kind of understand the thinking behind that, something that would otherwise be unaffordable, and getting those discounts on that. Are we seeing an uptick then on people buying on credit, or are people actually saving up to get these goods, to pay for these holidays, or is it all on credit?
No. So I think if we actually just look, for example, in our current portfolio between debit and credit card, we can actually see that most of the customers are spending on their debit and check cards. Almost 90% of what we're seeing is on that space so far. So we do think customers either have saved up for this occasion to basically spend today. Yes, there is spend that goes through on credit card, especially when we talk about the large amounts. We actually do tend to see that mostly on the credit card. But I think our message is on this Black Friday, if you haven't budgeted for it, if it's not part of the essentials that you really need, don't really dip into your credit and actually start spending, because remember, there's still tomorrow where you then have to...
But what if I get here, Tumelo, and I realize it is an essential that I need?
You won't find out at the mall, right? If it's an essential, you knew that before you left the house. So the thinking is really, you probably already have a wish list. You've budgeted for those items. Go and spend only on those items, unless if you've got sort of some spare cash sitting on the side that you want to use. But our message is really only spend on credit if it's something that you really have to. But we're actually saying rather not, unless if it's something that it's a must-have.
And what would be those items that you need to spend, or that you can spend on credit if you really must? What are those items?
So I think it will be different for every single individual, right? Hopefully it's not something that is a consumable that you're going to spend on and then it's gone tomorrow. You actually can't point back into that item. And that for us, I think, will be the key thing to say. If it's something that by tomorrow you're going to be saying, oh yeah, I spent X amount, but I actually can't point to the item that I bought, you probably shouldn't be spending on it from a credit perspective. And again, I think everyone is sort of in the phenomenon of Black Friday in South Africa. We all know this comes every year. Ideally, you actually want to save up for it. We know of stockpiles that are already saving up for this type of event. Rather get to the habit of saving up and then only spend on the items that we actually are looking for and have actually saved up to get this Black Friday.
And Khumalo, before I let you go, we did see the SARB hold on raising interest rates, another consecutive hold. Will that assist consumers in any way once we're over the Black Friday, Cyber Monday frenzy and reality heads back on preparing for next year? Will that offer consumers some reprieve?
Yeah, no, it definitely, I think, offers a bit of relief. Obviously, the reality is we've had sort of persistent inflation, we've had very high interest rates, and as a result, that has hit the customers, I think heavily. Disposable income is actually low. Salaries are probably not growing at the same scale that we're seeing sort of inflation and interest rates, and as a result, I think the hold on interest rates sort of helps, because if it actually went up, it would actually mean further strain on consumers. So we really, I think, are hoping that hold on interest rates actually helps us consumers. And I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess, going forward as far as the interest rate cycle is concerned.
Khumalo, thank you so much for making time to come and talk to us. Of course, that's Standard Bank's Khumalo Ramokondo talking us through just consumers spending wisely over this period, shopping frenzy, of course, and this mall clearly quite busy when compared to where we were earlier on in the morning. Consumers are trickling in, and as Khumalo said, we are seeing a lot of essentials in the baskets that consumers have, and some mothers here as well shopping with their children and getting those Christmas clothing as well as some school items in preparation for next year. But that's where we leave it for now. Kholi, it's back to you in studio.
Ntokozo Khumalo, thank you very much. She is monitoring the Black Friday shopping craze. It has officially started.